Will Smith is a brilliant school student and a talented basketball player from West Philadelphia. His life turns upside down after his conflict with the local gangster named Rashad when Will uses a gun to protect his friend Trey. After this incident, Will's mother Vi sends him to live with his relatives in Bel-Air, California. His Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil Banks are very rich and privileged people. On the way to Bel-Air, Will befriends his Uber driver named Jazz. He arrives at their luxury house and meets his cousins. Hillary, a social media influencer, Ashley, a smart young lady, and Will's peer, Carlton. At first sight, Will seems to be an impulsive young rebel. Phil worries that Will can cause troubles and destroy his plan to become the district attorney of Los Angeles. So he provides a cover story that Will has moved to Bel-Air just for a better education. Carlton shows Will around and takes him to his new school. There, Will meets Lisa. They have a lot in common and seem to like each other. But it turns out that Lisa is Carlton's ex-girlfriend, and Carlton is obviously still not over it. When he sees Will kissing Lisa at the party after school, he gets high and pushes Will into the swimming pool. After their fight, Carlton is grounded. He hates Will and wants to make his life at the new school miserable. Carlton tells everybody that Will was transferred to the Bel-Air Academy from a poor West Philadelphia school. Will faces all the prejudices of elite students. The only friend he could make that day was Tyler from the school's basketball team. Will realizes that he needs to fight for his place in this society, and basketball can help him with that. Hillary gets an offer from a popular food brand, but first they want her to change her style and her grandmother's ethnic recipes. Hillary can't stand it and tells her followers about the racist side of haute cuisine. Will discovers that his friend Trey is being hunted by Rashad. He also struggles with memories of how he was arrested because of the gun in his handbag in Philly. After a frank conversation with Uncle Phil, Will finds strength and attends the tryout for the basketball team. Coach Johnson gets him on the team. At the end of the school day, Carlton's friend Connor puts drugs in Will's bag. However, Viv and Phil take Will's side and manage to get him out of trouble. Phil takes Will and Carlton to a barbecue where Will helps to spread his election campaign. Viv finds out that Hillary made a huge scandal with the haute cuisine. She cuts off her financial support. Will has his first basketball game. The Bankses come to support him. The problem is Carlton has his lacrosse game at the same time. Eventually, Will and his team win the game. Carlton uses drugs again and gets kicked off the field. Rashad discovers that right now Will is in Bel-Air. Phil asks Carlton and Will to register 50 voters for his campaign in a black area. He promises that if the boys finally reconcile, he will buy Carlton a ticket to the Grand Prix in Monaco. And Viv promises Will to invite Trey to Bel-Air. A great artist in the past, now she spends all her time raising children and helping Phil to build his career. Maybe it's time to change something and start pursuing her own dreams. Rashad knows where Will is, and Will is really worried about that. Jeffrey, one of Phil's closest friends, promises to solve this problem. Later, Will finds out that Rashad is dead. Hillary meets Jazz in a small music shop which he actually owns, and they flirt. She finds a new place for living, an influencer house. With the help of his family, Phil earns the respect of the election audience. Will meets Fred, Lisa's father, the chief of the Los Angeles police and Phil's opponent in the upcoming election. Aunt Viv visits her old acquaintance Reed in his art gallery. He gives her the chance to restart her artist career. Trey arrives in Bel-Air and Will does everything so his friend could have a great time. Now, when Rashad is dead, everyone's expecting Will to go back to West Philadelphia. But the truth is, Will wants to stay in Bel-Air. Because of this, Will and Trey argue and have a fight. Carlton finds out the truth about the reason why Will came to Bel-Air in the first place. He blackmails Will and tells him to stay away from Lisa. Carlton himself tries to kiss her, but Lisa stops him. The Banks organize the event which honors Gail, Lisa's dead mother and Aunt Viv's best friend. It's a fundraiser for people with lupus. Reed encourages Viv to put one of her latest paintings on auction. It's sold for a huge amount of money and it's a sign that Viv is finally ready to move on. Fred comes to the event with his pregnant wife, Angela. She tries to steal all attention to herself, but Viv doesn't let her do it. Lisa obviously has the hardest time ever. Will cheers her up and helps her to make a speech about her mother. Carlton is jealous, he loses control, gets high and spends the rest of the day in his room. Hillary comes up with a new idea for her food blog and makes a hot video in lingerie. Viv and Reed are going to the San Diego Modern Art Fair. Phil trusts his wife, but he doesn't trust Reed. He has a reputation of the art womanizer. Phil arrives at the fair too, and it leads to a conflict between him and Viv. They have a sincere talk, and Viv says that she doesn't feel that Phil supports her or believes in her talent. She asks him to leave. While Viv and Phil are away, Carlton and Will arrange a party at their house. They invite everyone but Connor, who has recently had a fight with Carlton because of his racist jokes. Lisa asks Will about the real reason why he came to Bel-Air, but he lies. They finally make it official. Now they are dating. The party is interrupted by the police. Connor has reported on them. Kylo, the leader of the blogger's house, posts the hot video with Hillary without her consent. At first she's furious, but when she confronts Kylo about it, he says that it's an amazing opportunity for her career growth. Seeing all the perks of the situation, Hillary becomes surprisingly okay with it. And Jazz seems a little disappointed at how fast Hillary is at changing her morals. For Will's 17th birthday, his mom Vi comes to Bel-Air. Now all the family drama rises to the surface. Vi wants to tell Will about his father who left them when Will was 4. Viv and Phil think it's a terrible idea. The other problem is that Vi feels jealous. She thinks that Viv wants to take her place in Will's life, which is not true. Their conflict bursts up right in the middle of Will's birthday party. Will and Carlton forget their own disagreements and help their mothers to reconcile. Kylo demands Hillary to make new hot videos, but she doesn't feel comfortable with it. Eventually she quits her contract, leaves the blogger's house, and now she owes Kylo $50,000. Will asks Jeffrey to find info about his father. He brings Will a dossier with everything he could find, but Will decides not to look inside. He already has his family and people who love and support him, and he doesn't want to know more about the person who abandoned him. Anyway, when Phil discovers that Jeffrey helped Will with that task, they have a huge fight. All the banks are suffering from their own problems. Carlton is fighting his anxiety and drug addiction. Hillary doesn't know how to earn money to pay her debt to Kylo. Ashley realizes she's bisexual, but she's not ready for coming out yet. Viv is offered the Neiman Fellowship, a prestigious opportunity for genius artists. That means she has to leave her family for a year to go on a tour. Fred digs for dirt on Phil to use it in the final election debates. He finds out the truth about why Will came to Bel-Air. Now he knows that Phil has pulled some illegal strings to get his nephew out of trouble. He tells Lisa everything, and she rushes to tell Will and Carlton about this. She is still very hurt that Will was lying to her, though. The boys tell Phil what happened right before the debates. As a result, Phil decides to put his family in the first place and withdraw from the race. After that, everything seems to be alright. Viv's artworks are a success. Phil spends more time with the family, and even Hillary finds the way to outplay Kylo and continue her blogger career. Will wants to make things up with Lisa and tells that he loves her. They are going to meet somewhere and discuss the future of their relationship. But the banks have an unexpected visitor. His name is Lou, and he's Will's father. Turns out that when Will was 4, Lou got arrested and got to jail for the robbery of an old man. Of course, Lou wants to show himself from the best side. He blames Will's mother for making his life unbearable and provoking him to commit the crime. And it's a huge mistake because Vi is the most loved and important person in Will's life. Lou and Will have a fight. It's too much for the young boy, so Will just runs away from the bank's house, absolutely devastated. No one can find him but Jazz. He asks him to stop and think. Will can keep running, or he can stay and fight for his place in this life. What will he choose?